Like, why am I getting so many notifications about like lost tweets? Some people just like responding to that, and it's just like, oh, I see that as phenomenal. So it's like, I know
And
involves
we're
just,
live.
and we're live and so those of you who don't know, but firstly, I'm going to be like sharing the links to all the places as well too. But like, oh, last is NB Badass. This is me, Summer and Geek at the Alchemy bench with like John Bruckman.
Hello.
No Isaiah Taylor today. Isaiah Taylor kind of like is volunteering working. He's kind of like, why did I decide to do that as well too? But so either way, Isaiah Taylor's not here today. And hello, Osman Dark. But Isaiah Taylor does say hi to everyone. So I posted there. I'll post it there. Um, but what we were just talking about before is like as like John Bruckman was setting everything up and making sure that like everything looks good and all and stuff like that. He also kind of like made the comments like, oh, and make sure that like no one sees that or it goes to there, so that like I wait that folder so people don't know that like of the porn that I have as well too. And I made light of. And I made light that I'm remembering how, oh yeah, Vosh got in trouble for that because he apparently forgot to like not show a folder of his that he has of manga that, well, is lolicon. And so, yeah.
Well, no, actually, she's really 700 years old, but she happens to be trapped in the body of a 7-year-old girl.
Yes, the legal lolly. It is so common of not only the 700-year-old elf, which does happen, but also, no, this adult woman is like
Asma,
36.
hello.
Hello, Ozma. But yet it appears to be like a 7-year-old girl as well, or a prepubescent girl as well too. Again, but she's 34 or something like that. Again, the legal lolly. And it's
Mm.
because again, it's been so common that like there's became a term for it.
It's the inverse
Anime.
of Born Sexy Yesterday.
Yes, exactly. Which Born Sexy Yesterday has this whole host of problems as well. And I gotta rewatch Pulp Culture Detective, like his or watch it. I've never seen it, but Pulp Culture Detective long ago has like done
Hmm.
a video on that very concept.
I doubt he's the one who came up with the term, but he definitely did a good video on
Right.
it.
Yeah. I doubt you determine on that too. So I'm sharing around the link to all the like discords I'm in right now. Has been like mentioned on. Is that who I think it is? Better not. It probably just like happens to like look like someone else that I remembered but never watched as well too. Anyway, so John Bruckman, how you been?
I've been doing okay. Haven't been able to work this weekend because my registration expired and I couldn't pay it off because the property tax hadn't been paid, and I can't do that until Monday. So,
Worse. Sorry to hear that, Ozma.
mm,
Let's see the self promotion. Where is it? Here we go. I'm surviving. I have a head cold, I think. Had it since Friday. Yesterday seems fine. I didn't have like any problem with it, but like um did my text not go through? No, it didn't actually, Osma. So yeah, so you said worse as the correcting like a previous message that you said where you misspelled worse or something like that, and for some reason that did not go through.
it looks like at the very beginning you said I am here too, but I don't see anything before that. I don't know who you were responding to, but it looks like some of these things aren't coming through, which is strange.
Go and oh yeah, and now we have to go in live, and I'll just like tag everyone in our Discord of going live. I've
Ah.
okay, yeah.
So, what genocide are we talking about? Yes, it did.
Yes, the word genocide did go through. Hey, genocide is
Are we talking about the Palestinian genocide? That's the only one I'm currently aware. Oh, I mean, there's also the Native American genocide that's still ongoing.
mm, yeah. So it's
Maybe it's because
yeah.
you mentioned a specific group that YouTube has decided they want to make sure you're not allowed to mention.
Uh, just like, and we're on this platform. Well, at least the show is on this platform. I guess at the end, like only yeah.
That's what I
But
thought. Yeah, but I see Israel, I see Gaza. And
okay,
I'm
sure. I
guessing you're
sent a
saying
message
that the
again.
genocide is getting worse in Gaza.
Yeah, because I mentioned it is. I've been following up with like some of the news, but not the most recent news, like the not the news last week, and so and it's just not getting better. And yeah, I'm making a joke in reference to the genocide. Okay, I have no problem with
Oh,
Gallows TV as
Israel
well
took
too.
Al Jazeera off the air.
What? Oh, Israel
Just
took
checking the BBC. Al Jazeera office rated as Israel takes channel off air.
okay, yeah, that's.
You know, I don't think of Hamas as a terrorist organization.
I'm kind of in that same boat, honestly. Now, October 7th, what happened on October 7th is a war crime, yes, but like also the United States government has like done
Mm-hmm.
several low crimes. So if I'm just going to like condemn like a group for like one war crime I'm aware of, maybe there's more. There probably is a lot more that Hamas has done. I would definitely like not going to say that Hamas are angels for sure,
Oh, what did
but
Kendrick Lamar do to Drake? Oh no. I recognize the name Drake.
yeah, Drake is the like a rapper, but
And
like. I heard
Kendrick
about
Lamar
it's a rap.
is. Oh, there's dish tracks. Oh,
Yeah.
going back and forth between the two.
Actually, yeah, I remember that. Like, you mentioned that yesterday, Osma talk. Yesterday, me and Osma watched the 2001 anime movie Metropolis with a friend of the show, the Kama Sutra scholar Aaron, and like in her Discord server, and which was a lot of fun because it was the first time I've seen a 2001 Metropolis movie in a long time, and so I still enjoyed the movie, still really liked the movie. I thought it was like quite interesting, even though it was strangely enough I know I was supposed to feel something at the end of the movie, but yet I wasn't sure what I was supposed to feel, and I don't know if the movie did well enough and make me feel the thing that it wants me to feel, or but which is hard for me to explain. I know, but just like there have been times where it's like I know the movie is trying to invoke emotions out of me, but I'm not feeling those emotions. I know exactly the emotions that the movie is trying to invoke out of me, but I'm not feeling the emotions. And in times when I've done that, I've had that experience. That's where I don't come away enjoying the movie after the fact as well because like a movie you're trying to make me force me to feel things. It's sorry, but it's not happening. Which I that time I credit to be the failure of the movie, which also happened to be like a movie based off of Sama Tezuka like work as well too. Kimba the White Lion as well too. I think it was like Emperor King Leo or something like that. Um, that was like I sort of kind of felt the same way at the ending of like Metropolis, the 2001 movie, which is again based off like some work that Simon Tezuka did. Basically, his interpretation of Metropolis, the first slaying 1927 classic movie. There's some changes as well too, which I kind of like and found interesting. And but like yeah, it's kind of like I still really recommend that people check out the Metropolis as well too. If you like steampunk and decent punk as well too, and like or if you like the 1927 Frankenstein clocks in Metropolis. But it's just like I had a weird feeling at the end of the movie, and I don't know how to feel about it. So I guess that's where
Was
too.
it like a sneeze,
Uh,
only better?
hmm, huh, maybe I don't know. So, see, the rap just Kendrick Lamar was pointing out sex trafficking and other problems, which and he got a laundry list against Drake, and from what I've heard about
You,
Drake too, not
they're both coming
surprising.
after each other's personal lives.
Yeah.
Um, so I can see how that would get very, very bitter very quickly.
Hmm. And Kendrick Lamar dropped the track immediately after like Drake's diss as well too. Yeah, I remember you told me about that. Um, okay, checking out my schedule. I posted there. I posted. I have not posted there. Okay, let's check. Remember what it is. Oh yeah, yesterday. I love the title of today's stream, and also with you because like
Yesterday was May the 4th.
is and after May the Fourth be with you,
And
or like
also with you.
and also with you as that's like a Catholic upbringing, like his like doctrine, like Pavlov's dog has trained me to like say. Even though I haven't like really done anything Star Wars related, yes. Well, yesterday I also worked, so there's that. But also it's just like I don't know if I feel up to like Star Warsy stuff. Well, actually, I plan to play like Fortnite today, and there's of course been a Star Wars update on Fortnite, as there's always happened whenever like
Did you
new
watch
story
Andor?
is one. No, again, so the thing is like with the new Star Wars, is just actually I think the last new Star Wars things I've seen was The Rise of Skywalker, which I still like the movie, but I have my issues with it. Of course, many of the issues stem from all the retcons that they
Mm-hmm.
want to apologize to the fans for The Last Jedi.
And honestly, J.J. Abrams just wanted to remake the original trilogy, but bigger.
Yeah, which is why even some of my friends did not like The Last Jedi because of those changes in the characters or character portrayals that
Mm-hmm.
happened in The Last Jedi, like with Poe, which is like I cannot relate to at all because with Force Awaken I only seen once, which was in the theater. I did really enjoy The Force Awaken. I like it a lot, but like there were several times, well, when I first saw Kylo Ren, it's like, oh, this is like Darth Vader wannabe. But it turns out that was intentional, and so like after the fact, I was like realizing that, oh, this is intentional. Okay, I like this a lot too, and I like Kylo Ren a lot as characters too. But ever since then, it's like all people was like, oh, Snoke must be a big thing and stuff like that. Oh, I want to see like how Kylo Ren and all these things resolve and stuff like that. But then The Last Jedi was a totally different director with a totally different like angle on the
Mm-hmm.
characters and that sort of thing too, and which is why the character portrayals that happened in Last Jedi, I had no problem with because when I walked out of the theater after seeing Force Awakens only one time, I was like, "That's awesome! That was a New Hope again." It was so. It's the best
No,
like
you're thinking of
anime.
The Force Awakens, not The Last Jedi.
The Force Awakens. When I walk out the theater after seeing The Force Awakens only one time, I was like thinking, but that was just a New Hope again.
Mm-hmm.
And so like yeah, so then like all of that like even though I still think it was pretty good and it's pretty good as a Star Wars movie and something like that,
It
I was
was very well directed. The cinematography was great. It had a decent story. It's just that it was a story we saw back in 1977.
yeah. I mean the best fan made version you can get of like A New Hope, yes, best fan remake you can have, but like that's what disappointed me about like the Force Awakens, which is again why when I was like see like Last Jedi and Snoke get cut in half of the lightsaber, that's like I was like, damn! And that fight scene was also epic too.
Mm-hmm.
But yet to everyone else, their childhood died, even though the Force Awakens came out a few years ago. But like they were expecting Snoke to be the big thing, and no, it just
And
that
Luke is no longer the great mythic hero. He's a broken man. And that's.
is
I can understand why you might not like that, but that is a way his story could go. Hey, Joe.
Joe. But I like how Nick Harrison talked about like that scene of like when he receives the lightsaber and tosses it over his side.
Mm-hmm.
Because okay, think about it. The last time he had that lightsaber, his hand cut off. He found out that was Vader's father. So I can understand why he would reject that thing. It's associated with trauma. Uh,
Right.
but like no, like Luke Skywalker in the Last Jedi, I just love everything about that too as well. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just so I want. It's been a long time since I've seen the Last Jedi, but it's just like all the detractors are which is a lot of the like angry man babies on the internet, but yet also some of my friends. Now some of my friends didn't like the Last Jedi because like they didn't like the cinematography, didn't like this sort of thing. So they had like other issues with that, not necessarily
But
the like.
obviously, the main complaint is Ray.
No, there's also a friend of mine who like I actually can vibe with them. They were the first person I
Oh,
went to
also
deal.
Rose.
Yes, everyone had a problem with Rose as well too. Um, yeah, and some people have like there's some of my friends who they like think that like oh no, Finn was like the character was portrayed, and then it
Mm-hmm.
became less about like him, which is like I can understand that argument that like it become less about like a black man being like undermined in like the story as well too. But that undermining was done by an Asian woman though, so like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just like and I have there are polite disagreements I have with my friends on The Last Jedi because it's just a movie. It's okay to have polite disagreements about like films with your friends or something like that. There's no need to like end friendships and that sort of thing. I think a big issue have people have with like they take Star Wars films too seriously. And honestly, I think that's like one of the issues with one of my friends who like when when I was trying to explain like bring up Steve Jobs quote about like continuity, where continuity is a tool, not a straitjacket.
Hmm.
To which then this person, a friend, in relations to The Last Jedi, said, yeah, but they took that continuity and straight that to just threw it completely out the window as well, too. And again, how the Poe was portrayed from Force Awakens to The Last Jedi
Well, he
is
was
a bit
barely in The Force Awakens. Or sorry,
not
yeah, he was barely in The Force Awakens. He showed up in a couple of early scenes, then he's absent for most of the movie, then he comes back for the last third to be a badass fighter. He's not
yeah.
shown to be an amazing leader or strategist or
Mhm.
anything like that.
Yeah,
Um,
he's just a badass fighter pilot.
mhm. With some serious Hoge with Finn.
Yeah. Yes, a very serious whole game with Fenn. Absolutely. And I don't think
I mean, the
anyone
fact
would
that he
have
tells Finn to keep his jacket, he's the one who names Finn. I mean,
is, and
uh,
I think that's also was kind of like deliberate queer baiting, but I can not that like it's like they're baiting it, but like not taking it back or like not leaving on anything on the hook. That was more just like, hey, people will ship these two easily, and we'll are okay with that. I don't. It's a more interesting story. Also, the bit about like who's in the universe gives benefits to is random and not based on like the best genes is bad to judge. Yes, I love that about the Last Jedi too, because like the first it's like it makes the force be egalitarian as it should be because it's like it's everywhere, it binds us and like it combines us, it's like in everything as it were too, as already established. It just in the prequels somehow you can detect as almost like more force sensitive by midichlorians as it were
yeah,
too.
yep. People hated the prequel trilogies. They have aged a little bit better. I think
And I think
people come back and realize that the sequel trilogy was okay. I
yeah,
think Disney just should have done like they did with Marvel and made sure that there was a strong guiding direction to it from the jump.
I agree. I would love
Um,
to see a Ryan Johnson directed like and followed by trilogy if he
hmm.
gets like full reign or like mostly reign. I will accept that Disney will have final cut as well
Hmm.
too, like they do on like or like the producers do for the MCU. So none directors have final cut. It's always the MC producers that did final cut in the MCU, and that's fine. But
Yep,
like if Ryan Johnson gets to do most what he wants to do with the Star Wars story, I'll be interested in that. But
yep,
like at least we have the Last Jedi.
yep, yep, yep. And you should watch Andor. It is a strong indictment of fascism, of colonialism, of capitalism. Um,
Do you now? I have not watched. I honestly don't watch that many videos from Steve Shives, even videos that I think I wouldn't have too much a problem with because I can agree with the statement that video games should be easy as well too. And kind
mhm.
of, but that's like okay, Steve, you don't play video games, but you're going to comment on video games. But again, I don't know. It's like it's fine.
Yeah, it's one of
Um,
the only forms of entertainment where your ability to enjoy it is locked behind your ability to do the thing.
true,
I
absolutely,
mean, you
which is
can't
why
get the full story unless you can beat this boss, and you might not be able to get the full story.
yeah, exactly.
It's like
But with
imagine
like
having to beat some guy up in order to read the next chapter of a book.
yeah, exactly. Which is why I do agree that like absolutely story games and player versus environment games should absolutely have the accessible option for like easy mode or story
Hmm.
mode whatsoever.
Yep.
Um let's see
I mean, if you play a game for the challenge
yeah,
and you enjoy that challenge, that's great. But I
right.
mean, like Control, Mass Effect 3, those both had story mode options.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm playing Fortnite Battle Royale, I'm opting into playing a player versus player like a game, and I'm not expecting that to be easy, depending on like the lobby I get into, of course. But then skill-based matchmaking is a thing, and that's a whole other topic. But I'm opting into a competition game where I'm against other players as well too, and skill be killed. Oh, that's different than like player versus environment, where yes, absolutely, a story mode should be available, especially since there many of the games now are trying to tell comparative narratives, either in a more general sense of like just character doctrines and a lot of actions, and you can be a part of that, or you can control your characters in that like a scenario or something like that, or
Okay,
just
I
like
know, Joe, that you were trying to type overcoming, but I'm going to assume that that word means eating orc ass. Orcoming.
The prequels was commentary on the Patriot attack and how fascists and
Yep.
so that helps
And
the
it did so
prequels.
in the context of war and how
Yeah,
war drives people toward greater and greater nationalism, division, and
right.
how it can undermine security by paradoxically trying to enforce security.
Hmm. And he goes far
Goes too
to
far
go
because
far
he
to
doesn't understand the value of overcoming challenge. Yeah. Like I just said,
yeah.
yeah, a lot of people really do enjoy like
Mhm.
that moment when you finally beat something that you've been struggling to
Yeah.
beat is a
Mhm.
pretty intense feeling.
Yeah.
But it can also be incredibly frustrating if you just can't do it.
Yeah, I agree. So that's why the option should be there. I mean, honestly, in like Crimson Skies, not the one on the Xbox, even though that one's pretty good, but no, there was like a 1990s like a Crimson Sky that was on PC, but still like again biplanes like fighting this war too. There was a time I had to fly the plane into the O of like Hollywood. And pulling that off was so difficult that after 8 or 9 tries, the game was part of me said, "You want to skip this mission?" And I said no because I want to get it done. I never did, but like at least the game gave that option. That you can argue of like should the game present that option to you. Silent Hill 3 also presented that option if
Mm-hmm.
like you constantly are dying in a certain sequence or like a puzzle is too hard, they will like mention the easy option or like easier mode you can switch on as well
Mm-hmm.
too. So it's just
Yeah.
like
A couple of
uh,
games do that I've played.
yeah, this, and then there's Dark Souls and like those Souls games as well too. Which is like, which there is a lot of
Mm-hmm.
lore to those games as well too, and people do enjoy those lore. So it's like for those who want to experience the lores of those games, but don't have the skills to do so, which is why I used to like not understand why people watch people play games, and now I stream on Twitch. So there's that. But like for people who do lore videos on like the Souls games and stuff like that, or like so you can enjoy the Dark Souls trilogy vicariously or Elden
Mm-hmm.
Ring vicariously through someone else, which may be more true also for like some games that like have not have a recent release or like it's hard to like get like Silent Hill 2. I've been told it's a masterpiece. I honestly have not played that game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to doubt that's a masterpiece. I think it is. But like interesting. The guy who did on top of the fourth wall, Louis Logan, Lovar, something like I forgot. He's a fan of Silent Hill 2, but I think he said he has never played it, but he is a fan of Silent Hill 2 through Let's Plays and people commenting on it. And it was just
Mm-hmm.
like, so he's a fan vicariously of
Yeah.
Silent Hill 2, which, you know what? Yeah, I can believe that. Yeah, I can buy that. Absolutely.
Yeah. And of course, a lot of those things, there's a lot of nostalgia factor to it.
Yeah,
Because Silent Hill 2 came out in the what is it, early mid 90s.
yeah.
And
PlayStation 2, yeah.
that's at a time when, certain faults were acceptable, some faults and
Yeah.
failures of graphics and so on. But also
Oh,
when the
yeah.
limitations of the machines meant that you were forced to do certain things. And it's those constraints often led
Mhm.
to extreme creativity
Yeah.
as workarounds.
The first Silent Hill game, it's created the fog, which was
Hmm.
great for atmosphere and
And they
forces.
did that so
And
that they wouldn't have to render out to very far distances.
exactly, it had terrible draws for you distance level too, which is
Hmm.
why the remakes of Silent Hill 2, people often said that ruined Silent Hill 2 because like, oh, the graphics are so intense and you can see all the way far out to the horizon, but no, you got rid of the
That
fog.
ruined it in a way.
That yeah. Mhm.
But, and you're absolutely
So
right, Ozma. The activism, but I mean, at the same time, um, I don't think that that's the sort of activism that mm, how to put this. I don't think that that's activism. I think that that's terrorism.
mm,
Is what the rebels were doing because real
the pro
activism isn't going to be permissible under fascism. Sort of like how
mm.
real activism isn't permissible today.
Yeah, look at like the college encampments of pro-Palestinian protests that are
Yeah,
happening.
yeah. I just saw an article on the BBC that talking about how these college students who are graduating today, their college experiences was bookended at the beginning by COVID, and at the end by arrests.
Mm. Yeah, what time to be alive? And yeah, Biden, and yet people, yet even liberals now in responding to like the police arresting pro-Palestinian protesters at college campuses, saying this is preview of what like America will be like under Trump. It's happening right
Under
now under
Biden, yeah.
Biden.
It'll be worse under Trump.
Yes, but it's like it's I wish that liberals will understand that like Biden does not equal good. The Democratic Party does not equal good with his leadership now. I I don't know if the Democratic Party could equal good anytime soon or in even in my lifetime as it is. Because this we have said that like no, the Democratic Party are a conservative capitalist and right wing. They're just to the left of the fascist party that
Hmm.
actually wants change, but it's fascist
That's a
change.
low bar. Being left
Yes.
of the group party to which there is no further right.
Mhm. Terrorism is violence against the state, and it can be against other things as well as what makes it terrorism, as its states approves of it as well. I agree with that, and I
Hmm.
haven't seen Andor, but maybe so when you said that like it wasn't activism of terrorism, it was that they were using the propaganda, the deed in that instance.
Hmm. It was propaganda of the deed. Um, at one point, there's a heist. They want to steal the payroll for an entire sector. It's a huge sum of money. It's only
Mm,
possible because it's all in cash.
mm,
Um, and they do that. They pull it off successfully. But the purpose for the spy master in charge of this nascent rebellion, um, working with Mon Mothma, is his purpose is whether it wins or whether it succeeds or fails, he just wants the Empire to crack down to force people to see it for what it is and get more people to join the rebellion. The fact that it
yep.
was successful is just, a nice benefit. Mon
Right.
Mothma, meanwhile, is a statement about how activism and speaking out is pointless. She's the gadfly who works in the Senate and is constantly speaking out against the worst acts of the Empire, and everyone treats her as a useless joke. Her
Hmm.
real utility comes to the fact that she's funding the rebellion.
Mm. Yep. It's scary when people in power like equate disruption with violence. Yeah, look, that's why Biden has like condemned these
Hmm.
like pro-Palestine the protests.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
just and I kind of want to ask Steve Shives on his Esquays as well too how he feels about that because I wonder if Steve Shives. I know that Steve Shives will still say vote Biden in November, and I understand that. Um, at the most, we have to vote against like
The
Trump, and
end of the show. Oh, the people in the funeral march, Ozma. Um, that wasn't activism. That was, I think, a realistic depiction of people um, celebrating someone who was a valued member of the community, and the police responded in the way they always do, as long as it's not Nazis. And the result was a riot. Um, I don't think that that was a sort of organized activism of any kind.
mm, let's see.
I think it was more what, not Galen, the Spy Master, played excellently by Stellan Skarsgård. Um,
Mm.
that's exactly what he wanted. He wanted the Empire to crack down, and he wanted people to respond in exactly that way.
Okay, at the very least, I have to watch the show because if think about
It
this,
ends with a
any
riot.
me,
Yeah. It
well,
shows
any
basically Andor becoming radicalized from being just
right.
a petty thief who is only in it to protect his friends and family to being a member of the rebellion who's willing to die to retrieve the Star Wars plans, the Death Star plans, in the movie
Rogue
Rogue
One.
One. Yeah.
I still think that was a good movie too.
Um, if people frame it as activism, I disagree. Yeah. Um,
Mm.
I think what Mon Mothma and the other guy, Lucian, are doing. Is it Lucian? Uh, anyway, I think that that is an extreme form of activism, and I think it's an effective form of activism.
Mm.
It's very brutal for. It's gonna bug me.
Yeah, I definitely know that feeling where it's just like I gotta get this right. It's going to bug me. I
Luthen.
gotta get this.
Luthen.
At
Luthen
least you did
Rael.
that. At least you did that now. There's one time like a guy was just like, "Who's that guy's name? Who's the guy's name?" He was like on CNPS. Who's this guy's name? He finally yelled out the name Phil Kilborn while he was having sex with his girlfriend.
Yeah, exactly, Joe. That's what I was trying to say with saying that Lutham is a brutal form of activism, his terrorism.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree.
and in fact, his terrorism wasn't particularly extreme. They were trying to get out of there without killing anyone.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that they happened to get in a firefight and a few people died. It was more bank robbery than it was an act of terrorism.
Mm-hmm. And after all, like is violence against the state can be as simple as like the sabotage, which like the
Hmm.
ANC African National Conference in like South Africa, there was fighting
Hmm.
apartheid. That they did like because result to terrorists as were too, because they tried every other avenue and it wasn't working.
Hmm. Um, oh, in an early episode, when some corporate police, yes, there are corporate police in Star Wars, show
I
up to
believe
arrest
that.
Andor, um, the community, just sort of rises up against them. They're a working class community. You can imagine, cops roll into a neighborhood and the kids start saying "Kapopo 50 50," and then everybody scatters, gets off the
Mhm.
street. But in this case, not only do they scatter, when it starts becoming violent, somebody chains their shuttle to a huge piece of machinery because it's a scavenger sort of operation there, salvagers. So when the shuttle tries to take off and come around and land, they get, because they're tethered to this huge piece of equipment, it throws them off course and sends them, crashing into the ground, which is just awesome.
Mhm.
And that's, again, is that activism? Is that terrorism? Or is that a normal community response to outside state and sponsored violence?
Mhm.
I mean, I think a big part of Andor. I mean, okay. This is not a radical statement on my part because it is in fact explicitly in the message. It's that that sort of state oppression will always create resistance to it.
Mhm. Yeah.
Mm. You're right, Joe. But again, Ozma made that point earlier that the state equates disruption with violence.
Yeah. So yeah, yeah. So at very least, I guess I really should like watch Andor since like there's something about like a piece of media that creates this like this amount of like conversation as well too. It's kind of like be something.
Yep. Yeah, you're right. The neoliberal state has been doing everything it can to further atomize um, everyone. But of course, that's been going on since the 1850s. That's when we
Mhm.
created the whole nuclear family thing.
Mhm. Yeah, like yeah, and speaking of which, what was also happening this past week was like May Day, the real Labor Day, International
Yes.
Workers' Day.
Invented here in
Uh,
the U.S. and only celebrated abroad.
Yeah, because like it made first by the United States presidents as well since like I think since like Eisenhower in 1954, so of course you can see why declared May Day to be Loyalty Day.
Oh. Ah. Oh, I threw up in my mouth.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's still a holiday. Almost every year, the president so like declare about loyalty day and how you should be loyal to this country as it were too. Now, again, not surprising since the age of 5, we like have force our kids to like swear an oath of pledge of allegiance to a flag.
Swear an oath of loyalty to the United States.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like I always say, when people come to the U.S. from other countries, the first thing they notice is the homeless people, and they're
Mhm.
shocked and appalled by that. The second thing they notice is the fact that the doors and walls of our bathroom stalls don't go down to the floor, and they're shocked and appalled by that. But the third thing they're horrified by is the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes. Uh, so yeah, so it's I kind of like rewatch like thoughts lines like the real Labor Day video. This was back in like 2020, so he does talk about like a general strike. I don't think that general strike was successful at all, honestly. Just like calling for like a general strike is not gonna really like do things as
No,
well
you'll
too.
need far more worker solidarity than we currently have.
Yeah, it is, and but it's just kind of like, and what you got to remember, which is like any of us here, like will do know as well too. Why did like the ham market like a massacre happen? Well, it's like part of the like fight for the 8 hour day. So like national like general strikes were happening all over the place. A lot of them happened in Chicago, and so they were like yeah, there was kind of like a protest or like a strike action at a lumber mill or a lumber yard or to one of the factories, the McCormick Harvest Company, I think. Uh, and like there were thousands of people strong, so tens of thousands of people strong, and the police showed up. And if anyone knows, has seen any like the police interactions with the protesters now, or like protests in 2020, or any protest whatsoever where the police show up and so on, you can generally know what the script already as well too. Because yes, this police just like harass and like was like trying to break up the strikes as well too, because that's what the police are for as part of their duties to protect capital and protect private property. And like there was like shots fired, and yes, some like striking workers were in fact killed in that incident as well too. So to like respond to how terrible that is, there was like a demonstration rally basically at the Haymarket Square in Chicago a few days later. And that's where, and even the mayor was there and said it was pretty chill, just like a lot of the organizers and speakers just like gave their speeches and condemned the actions of the police on that day as well too. And like when everyone else, including all the politicians, just went away, the police were also there and did the things that they were doing as well too, and a bomb was thrown, and that was why the Haymarket massacre has been called. Several people, including in police and strikers alike, were injured, and like a couple of people were killed. And that's when the 8 anarchists were then tried for their crimes. When let's see, the names: the 8 anarchists: Albert Persons, August Spies, Adolphe Fischer, Oscar Nimble, Louis League, George Ingalls, Michael Schroff, and Samuel Freeman. They're all arrested for the crimes of like throwing the bomb at the Haymarket as
Mm.
massacre. When
And then
like
executed, I believe.
seven of them were only one of them was like sentenced to 15 years, but the other seven were like sentenced to death. I think one of them took his own life in the jail. Another final acts of defiance against the state, saying, "No, you're not going to determine my time of death. I determine my time of death." Full extended bodily autonomy when you think about it. And now it's not that like a conspiracy theory. They were just on trial for their political beliefs. No, the prosecutor said that explicitly. Not sure in court or anything like that, but like definitely publicly. Hello, Willis, how you doing? And so yeah, so that's why we
Winning.
commemorate that. We commemorate International Workers' Day on May 1st because like yeah, in May 1st, 1866, 1886, that's word too in those years. That's why we have the 8 hour days. It's because of unions. It's because of long and hard like fought work
Literal
from like
wars.
little wars, a national movement to try to fight for the 8 hour days, 8 hour work, 8 hour leisure, and 8 hour sleep is word too,
Hmm.
which we're still holding to now. Well, okay, we're not. No, don't be sorry,
Don't
Will. It's
apologize.
okay. They're still up on the channel as well,
But
so
I
you can still
mean,
like.
number has to go up. But
I mean, will this show like get that popular?
no, not ever.
We're a couple of leftist socialists and communists, and I'm queer, so it's
And we
like,
just talk about shit like Star Wars.
well, also we're talking about like violence against the state as well too, and
Mm.
other things like that. Uh,
Let's see. Israel officials are increasingly concerned that the International Criminal Court is planning to seek arrest warrants for their military and political leaders on suspicion of war crimes.
well, yes, they've been conducting war crimes for like several
It's
months now.
about 80 years, actually. Oh,
And well,
oh.
yeah, 80 years. Well,
Uh,
Benjamin Netanyahu has been like doing a lot more war crimes
oh
than
yeah,
just in the past 8
he's
months.
committing genocide.
Yes. It is like intentional to do so. It's like in the language of like many of the Israel officials and like Benjamin Netanyahu and something like that. Uh, Immediately we were warned. So like I was going to talk about on the day without the immigrants protest is May 1st and is the immigrants right day as well too. Glad police
Hmm.
didn't show up in like the Austin march in was in last year. Admittedly, we were warned ahead of time by a lawyer due to the laws put up in like Texas, allowing them to like easily arrest people and put them in jail for 24 hours. Writing down the lawyer's number was is on me was a new experience. Yeah, I heard that like a lot of the protesters have been like has to like do that as well too. But like, oh, that's right. There's like some jail funds, jail bail funds, been set up for like the college protesters at like college campuses who are in pro
Hmm.
Palestine. It's not just college students that are at those protests, also like faculties, those universities as
Hmm.
well. It's like in those like protests as well too. Because remember, it's like before that, we had the movement of like a BDS, boycott, divest, and like sanction Israel, something like that. And many like academics that were vocally and publicly, possibly in support of BDS got like the it was like I hate to use the term, but it's like apt term for the situation got canceled, where they got let go by the universities or like not allowed to like
Hmm.
do speeches and everything like that because like yeah they're using the force against them of like the hierarchical structures, the universities and that sort of thing, and power hold into like deans and people above, or like those universities bending to the will of their donors as well too, including Israel itself to like let go and fire or just like yeah we decide to fire like these professors over there who have recently been talking about Israel negatively as well. Because I'm white, I feel having a view beyond free Palestine and events and is going to like out of my lane. Um, yeah, that's fine. You don't have to say anything like more if you're not comfortable saying anything like
Yeah,
more as well
that
too.
makes sense. I just, feel that Israel shouldn't exist.
I agree. I more or less agree because like Israel
It
has
was an
been
act of
now.
settler colonialism, and
It
that led
was,
to ethnic
yes,
cleansing and genocide, and they were honest
it
about
is.
that. That's what they were
Mhm.
going to do.
Yeah, the and our current president Biden back in like the 80s or something like that. No, the 90s. He said that, like if Israel doesn't exist, we would have created it.
Hmm. It disrupts the Middle East and destabilizes the region and makes it easier for us to get oil.
Yeah, and like it's like having a permanent base in the Middle East as well there too. So like we can easily just like respond to like what's happening in the Middle East whenever we want to, or just bomb a country we want for oil as well. Like for example, I don't think I can either condemn nor condone Hamas, and that's fine. We're not
Hmm.
asking you to do
I mean,
so.
that makes sense.
Mhm. Because yeah, with Hamas, I would just or like with Hezbollah too, which I think is like the group in like Yemen, if I remember correctly. It's like liberals seem to automatically be like against Hezbollah, and I'm just like, or there was another group as well too that recently kind of like actually did like some terrorism on boats that were just like going to Israel, preventing them from like getting like weapons to like do more genocide. They want to protect the everyone a Jewish person like defending Israel by beating up and arresting 10 more Jewish people defending Palestinian rights. Yes.
Yep.
And that's a problem though. Like anyone that's like seen to be vocal against the protests or against the Free Palestine movement this or too, they're like a lot of people are framing like being pro-Palestine as the equivalent of being anti-Semitic or being
Hmm.
anti-Jewish or being anti-Israel or being anti-Zionist. They're equating those things as being anti-Jewish or
Yep.
anti-Semitic. And yet like there are plenty of Jewish people that are anti-Zionists, at least in terms of liberating like Palestine. Once Palestine is liberated, that's a different story. I I don't know when that time will like happen. I wish that would be a time that it happened. I know that like there are quite a few Palestinian people, including like previous Palestinian governments, that would have like settled and like accepted like a two-state solution. But
Yeah.
from what I've read, is that like Israel was never interested in a two-state solution.
Nope.
And
Nope. They wanted the whole of the land, and they wanted to get rid of the Palestinian people.
from the river to the sea.
Yep. Well, actually, that's the
Uh,
Palestinian cause.
well, that's the
But
Palestinian
still,
cause. Yeah,
yeah.
from the river to the sea, the Palestinian be free. But like that was the I think that's the intended goal for the Zionists as well too, or at least definitely for like many Zionists now, and definitely many like Israel politicians now, and many Israelites. Honestly, not all Israelites, I will say. Hashtag not all, but like no, it's just like. Definitely the intended goal of like the government of Israel right now with Benjamin Netanyahu. But even if he does get finally tried up for his war crimes or like
Oh, the
punished by
U.S. will make sure that nobody is ever, taken from Israel to the court.
yeah, I was gonna say the United States will definitely because we're out because Israel is one of our allies.
They're one of our hegemonic uh, client states, but yeah,
Mhm.
they're allies.
I'm not sure what the like Israel's original agreement is, Will. So like I want to like there's like a videos the art the essay series that I've been like reading on my stream and I want to like continue reading it as word too. Um like understanding like
Are you talking
Palestine.
about the 1948 position, Whitlith? Yeah. I mean, that's the thing about settler colonial movements. The ongoing
Hmm.
genocide that is the point, and the original agreements are stopgap measures to, get the victims to settle down for a little bit until the next round comes along.
I should really read more articles on my Twitch channel and YouTube channel from like this website, Did Colonial Life in Palestine. Because yeah, that is the point. Like with definitely many indigenous people can definitely have like probably maybe many indigenous people who wish we wish that like the Americans or the settlers or the colonizers continue kept with their original agreements, but they rarely did. There's so many broken treaties that those were like signed, and many indigenous people were also forced into signing those treaties as well too, like gunpoint
Mm-hmm.
as were. And also it's like they assume because of many different things, like Joe the Indigenous Heretic has said on this channel, because of like indigenous people or many indigenous people in Turtle Island do not have the concept of owning land as it were too.
Mm-hmm.
That's how like the island Manhattan was like traded for a bunch of beads.
5 times. Uh,
Yeah.
um, and also, I mean, Palestine is an open air prison. The reservations were designed as open air prisons,
Mhm.
and the reservations got smaller and smaller. Palestine got smaller and smaller. I mean, that's
Yep.
just the way it is.
And uh and settlers, the Jewish settlers, even if they like were born and raised in New York, but because they're Jewish, they can like go, or maybe they have a mother or someone that is from Israel. They can just like go into a home in the like the West Bank and something like that, and take it over and say it's mine now. And
Mm-hmm.
and over in the West Bank, which again the violence is now happening in the West Bank as well the violence going on in like Gaza as always, because like the Palestinian people don't know when someone's breaking into their homes whether or not they're the like IDF or they're settlers because it's so hard to tell sometimes. The fact that like all adults could vote the current government could not hold power means it's not a democracy. I agree, Joey.
Mm-hmm. No, we don't have
So.
democracies anywhere. We have oligarchies pretending to be democracies.
Yeah. In my opinion, ideally, all Israel citizens, those who are not dual citizenships, will become Palestinian citizens. But Jewish people did live in the pre-Israel Palestine. Oh, yeah, that
Yeah.
is a good point. That's a good
Well,
point,
there
Will.
is an issue there, um, because there were Jewish people living in Palestine before the colonial project started. And then there
Mhm.
were Jewish people who moved to Palestine as part of the colonial project. Oh, yes,
Mhm.
okay. I mean, I agree with that. Israel should not
Yeah, same
exist.
here.
Palestine should occupy the territory it once held. Um,
And from what
I
I
suspect that
understand,
if that happened, the settler colonialists would mostly leave, like France did
hmm
in Algeria or
yeah,
Algiers. Um,
hmm
so, uh, yeah. I mean, you can see that with what happened when the current conflict started. All of the
Mhm.
heavy scare quotes indigenous Jewish people who had dual citizenship fled.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, I mean, they went back to the places where they hold dual citizenship. Um,
Mhm.
so, but then now we've had generations of people living in occupied Palestine, who many of whom probably don't have dual citizenship, though they will probably have
Mhm.
family back in their country of origin.
Mhm.
Um, so I think if we ever manage to eliminate Israel and free Palestine, that a lot of them would flee back to their parents' or grandparents' homeland.
Mhm.
Some of them would
Yeah.
stay. Um,
Yeah.
and hopefully the new Palestinian government would give equal rights of citizenship and not have any of the stupid ethnic identity bullshit that
Mhm.
Israel has.
Right. And so from in the link that I provided, Decolonizing Palestine, they have like Palestine 101 article series of
Mm-hmm.
just like a crash course into like history of Palestine. And one of the things I read, I think in the first like essay or article on like a history of Palestine, like all prehistory, is that kind of like sector of the world, maybe because of like how fertile the soil was for like farming and that sort of thing too, was like had a bunch of people just like come from different walks of life and like coming there and living there and like they settling there. And so, and just like with like Joel and the Detective said on like the Mind Skeptical Leftist like channel, if like white people come to where the indigenous people are, the brown people are as explorers, they're more than welcome to. Want to learn about like our ways? Hell, come to this. Yeah, try our food. Hey, welcome on in, something like that, because they welcome explorers easily. And I think Palestinian people can welcome explorers as well too. And if they want to stay and there's like room there for people, yeah, more power to that as well too. Which is why if like somehow there was like a massive immigration of Jewish people to that area, so long as they were not just like creating their own state as well to militarize that state or militarize borders because borders of violence, and
Mm-hmm.
was creating an ethno state as well too, which was what was the creation of Israel's intent was as well as it was the Earth project. Then there might be some tensions, but it's like it can work out if Jewish people want to just like settled in Palestine as well too.
But they never
Um,
wanted that. That was never the point of
yeah,
Zionism.
yes, exactly. That's
It was
never the
always
point
to
of
flood the
Einstein.
region with Jewish folk and take it over. And then you get the
Yes.
Balfour Declaration saying that, yeah, we should
Mhm.
support this. It's a good way to get all the Jews out of here and back over there.
Yeah, that's part of the reason like many European countries and the world leaders in Europe supported Israel is
Mm-hmm.
because like,
And that goes
well,
back to World War One,
yeah.
and probably largely informs why the British fucked over Palestine. They said,
Hmm.
hey, you rebel against the Ottomans, we'll support you becoming an independent state. And
Hmm.
then after World War One, it said, okay, no, you're a French colony now.
Yeah,
uh,
yeah. I think I remember when I was promoting one of my streams of like reading Palestine's history 101. What why is like Palestine so fucked up as well too? And a mutual Andrew, who's also a viewer of like Steve Shives, who's British, has said like you can blame the Brits on a lot of that too. And yeah, the Brits have a lot to blame in the mandates years for sure. It was explicitly said so. I also blame the Nazis for the existence of Israel's colonial state. Jewish people
mhm.
lived okay in Palestine until the Nazis, autocrats like made some Jewish people adopt a secure
Atrocities, mean, yeah.
atrocity. That can,
Yeah, yeah, that is a big part of it. I don't know
I
how
agree.
much, but I
Yeah,
think that Zionism is based on what you think and what you call it. Um, go west, young man. Go east, young man. Go west, young man. Mandate, no, Manifest Destiny here in the U.S.,
yeah,
which spawned the Lebensraum of Germany in the late 19th century. And it's not a coincidence, I don't think, that what is it? Theodore Herzl came up with Zionism also in the late 19th century, when
hmm,
every ethnic group needs their own land.
yeah. It's not the worst. It's not the worst for people to act like Paul near the beginning of Dune Part Two. Unfortunately, most white people end up like Paul near the end of Dune Two Part Two. Yeah.
I have not seen either of these new Dune movies. I do know I did read the book, but it was a long time ago. So I think
Mhm.
Paul is um, in a militant uprising, but by the end he has a messiah complex. Is that how it works?
I
I don't
think
remember.
so. Yeah, that was my doc mentioned this like yesterday as well too. They show how awful Paul is because
Hmm.
like better or is better in the movie. They show how awful Paul is better in the movie than in the book. Okay, I see. Yeah,
Hmm.
I this again with me with Dune. I it's like I haven't seen the recent Dune movies. I'm sure they're good. I'm sure I'll enjoy them. I want. I mean, like I could rewatch the 1980s Dune movie, but that's just a whole different thing
It's
on its
David
own.
Lynch,
Yeah,
and
it's
I
David
think
Lynch
David
being
Lynch
weird.
actually captures the feel of the book.
Hmm,
Because
that's
remember,
something at
Herbert
least.
was doing a big trippy Jungian thing,
Yeah, he was.
as well
Um,
as doing comments about how he's used to fall into fascism.
yes, exactly. But like I think the sci-fi series, this was before they called themselves the Sci-Fi Channel,
Hmm.
has a pretty good like a Dune miniseries, and then Children Dune miniseries as well too. I
Hmm.
want to rewatch those.
Yeah, I didn't watch
Um,
those, but I hear those were pretty good.
yeah, they're solid.
Uh,
At least they're better
like,
than
I mean,
David
the
Lynch
problem
things.
with adapting Dune is just that it is so
Yeah,
introspective and heavy on narration.
yeah, yeah. It is. I mentioned so. Again, I could probably eventually maybe should like actually read the books themselves, as I should actually read some books. In general, I'm generally concerned with like people missing the point with Dune. Yeah, I
They
agree.
often miss the point. You get a
Yeah.
lot of fascist fans of Star Wars, which is stupid.
Yes. Yeah, okay, speaking of the which, I don't know if I want to call out this person's name publicly or
Hmm.
not. But like I did like share just re-shared like a meme of like, wait, it was a stormtrooper looking at the Death Star. Wait, it was a metaphor for Western imperialism, and the stormtrooper behind him saying it always has been. Which is again, no, no, no. George Lucas explicitly said that he
Hmm.
modeled the rebels to be after the Viet Cong.
Hmm. You shouldn't call them that. Because that was an appellation given to them by the Southern Vietnamese, and it means traitor to the
Oh,
Viet.
oh, okay.
So
So the
that's basically race traitor, because Viet is
I
thing
see.
for the ethnicity.
Okay,
So
so
Vietnam
from
is basically the land of the Viet people.
okay,
So you did call them North Vietnamese,
okay.
or the
Hey,
Communist Vietnamese, whatever you want to call
the
them.
communist needs, yeah, yeah. Okay. Hey, so no, yeah, then because the Empire, that's the reason why he called them stormtroopers. Come on.
Hmm.
Well, yeah,
And
the
you're
Empire was
absolutely
over.
right, Wyleth. A lot of anti-Semites do support Israel, because they want to get rid of
Yeah.
Jewish people. Richard Spencer, remember the dapper Nazi,
Hmm.
said that he supported it, but he used that as an excuse to support a white ethno-state.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Because
you're
like
right,
it's
Joe. People do miss the point because it's from the perspective of the rising fascism.
yeah. Hmm.
But also because people want to miss the point, as Steve Shives
Hmm.
repeatedly points out when it comes to Star Trek.
Yeah. I saw a big long Twitter post because someone else was responding to it and retweeting it, or quote tweeting it. But it's just like someone's like, "Look, no, Star Trek is not white. It's because like the society, people don't care if someone is black. They just happen to be black." And it's just like you didn't even like you didn't even read like any of every Brooks of comments and stuff too. But like so many people just like miss the point or misappropriate that. Yeah, granted,
Mm.
like Avery Brooks never saw like Benjamin and Cisco as a black commander as well too. He's just commander. He never like sees like that. And Morgan Freeman has made similar comments well too. But that doesn't mean that like it's like anti woke or anything like that or not woke. It's just like oh god, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, it was like when like that's why Shao's character has been like a force. Is it more
Focus
into
born.
focus
That's the
more?
one played by Zendaya, yes?
Maybe. I mean,
um,
towards there are also the people that like
mhm.
Caesar's legions in the Fallout New Vegas are justified.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still not the only Fallout
Oh, the
game I
Fallout
played.
series. You should watch that too.
No, okay, I heard yes, I heard good things about the Fallout Amazon series. And I did have Amazon
Some of the
Prime.
original creators of the games said that the series really captures the feeling of what they intended.
Hmm. That's good.
And of course,
Uh,
a lot of longtime fans are incredibly upset that they made so much horrible changes. It's like, dude.
okay, but here's the thing. As our friend Linequin, like Will is also a viewer of, has like stated several times that there are some Fallout fans that say the only true Fallout games was the first two, and that anything beyond Fallout from Fallout 3 and beyond are not Fallout.
Mhm. I mean, I can understand their point
Yeah,
because they are very different games just
I agree.
because the technology has changed. It no longer has to be
Right.
turn-based combat on a hex grid and things like that.
Mhm.
And the VAT system was just a way to help you, figure out what you wanted to do. So it wasn't just a completely opaque black box, random number god when you were fighting.
Yeah.
And they changed it to an action game because that's
Mhm.
going to go over better.
Yeah. I
And
should.
but I think that they still maintain the fairly bleak feeling of the setting
Yeah, I agree.
until you get to the end of each game
Mhm.
when you can get the opportunity to create, this big, heroic, wonderful ending.
Mhm.
Whereas in the first two games, as I recall, it's been a long time since I played them, the best you could do was destroy a force of evil, not necessarily create a force for good.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. Mhm.
the parts in the vault are clean. Once you get out of the vault, obviously it gets a lot messier.
New Vegas does a good job of recreating a bunch of the
Yeah,
stuff that like
there
was
are a lot
in
of
like
people
the
who
first
really
two.
love New Vegas.
Mm-hmm. I don't like that they like set it somewhere or with no player lore like New York, and they could have
Mm,
like voted on those choices. Nah.
yeah, but
Uh,
I think that they were the creators of the show. I mean, the thing is, the people who made the show were huge fans of the games, so
mhm.
I think that's why they went back and did what they did. Um, it, they didn't quite create continuity snarls. I think
Mhm.
that they did show that some beloved locations are no longer around because of the inevitable sorts of things that happen in that sort of world.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, okay,
Yeah.
not everyone is covered in grime, but mostly they're the main characters. Um, actually, I think it's just the one because she's from a vault and that's a priority for her, but she gets
Yeah.
gradually kind of messed up. Um, then you also have a guy from the Brotherhood of Steel. It's yeah, it's a choice.
Yeah.
I,
But yeah. I
it's not
see.
something I focused on. It's not something that brought me out of watching the show.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. That is, but sometimes like I can understand people's like that aesthetic choice and that aesthetic complaints as well too. I would think it's just like unfortunately Hollywood's Hollywood and like there will be like sometimes they'll make even the apocalypse be look still too clean as well too. Sexy
Hmm.
people will still be sexy as well too because it's like it's an escapist show as well too. Also, some choices feel like they were done just to, for example, look how evil this person is doing X or to Y. Yeah,
Well, I mean, that's also part of the Fallout games. The Raiders are just always
true.
chaotic evil.
Yeah.
And the leaders in most of the settlements, or half the settlements, I should say, are just vicious bastards.
Hmm. So
um,
yeah.
but yeah, you have a lot of kick the dog moments. But
Mm, right.
again, it's a pretty short series, so if you want to
Mm.
establish someone as bad, you have to do that um, pretty quick.
So I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Alien type minutes. Okay,
Mm.
yeah.
Um,
But
I think
again, with going
Serenity,
to
or sorry, Firefly did that pretty well
right.
back in the
Hmm.
day.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, for the very least, at least aesthetically, Firefly did felt very lived in. Yeah.
mm,
And with
definitely wasn't clean like Star Trek.
true, yeah, actually, I do agree with that. Uh, let's see. But okay, so one other thing, actually, I guess it's like it happened recently because like people were starting like a post about that. But the actor Bernard Hill just passed away.
Mm-hmm. I saw that.
Yep. So the king of like Rohan and the captain on the Titanic. Oh, the Sagittarius not here. We could have brought up Titanic. Well, we'll
Oh
mention
yeah,
it next.
of course. That was one of the main complaints about Andor, Ozma. Was that it's like what? There's bricks in Star Wars? That's stupid.
Yeah, there are some fans you can just never please, and it's just like, what is Star Wars? It's just like, again, like, aesthetically, come on. The movie, the prequel trilogies look very different from like the like original trilogy aesthetically as well too. But also, I don't blame that because of like better technology as well too.
Mhm. Yeah, you're right. Well, they definitely didn't make the choice to spite old school fans, or New Vegas fans, because, like I said, they were old school and New Vegas fans.
I do agree
Um,
the prequels were lived then as well too, especially like on Tatooine and other parts
mhm.
as well too.
I mean, if you were they that was again that was a choice, and I think it was a good choice to show that the
Mhm.
Galactic Republic, some places were doing very, very well,
Mhm.
and they were very shiny, very sleek, very beautiful, and some places were not.
Mhm.
There were a lot of bad choices that Will Lucas made, um, but there were some good choices too.
Mhm. Trying, hey, going to actually like comment on like what other films that he has done because like I only know him as the Captain from Titanic and the King from Rohan. And however, that's all that people ever know him from as well too. Because yeah, it's just like apparently he was in the Scorpion King. I was like, okay, yeah, that's
That was unfortunate then.
mhm. Yeah, the pilot of the movie. Okay, so done some voice acting in like Fable 3. Okay. I But no, they'll be like this for the King of Rohan is like is no longer with us. But the how old is he? 80. Yeah,
Hmm.
I did
No, that's
1990.
how old he was. He's not old anymore.
Yeah, he's
He's
not old
not
anymore.
anymore.
79. He was born in December 17th, so he lived to be 79. Oh, that's important. Yep, it's I don't know at what point does like it means to be like sad or tragic as a word too, because it's tragic for someone that like has many more lives to live that like they didn't get to live those like tragic that like Akira Toriyama died at 62 when he was working on different projects. And tragic that Satoshi Kon died at 45 when he had so much more to live. Tragic for like David Graeber dying at 59, dying at an age unexpected. I think 79, that's where it's like sad because like it's sad, but it's not tragic because like
Mm. He lived a
that's
long time.
yes, exactly.
he he beat the cutoff for life expectancy by a couple of years. So
Yes, I agree for a man. Yes. Because I think it's like the case where it's just like, hey, on average, women do live longer than men as well, too. There
testosterone is
isn't
very slightly toxic, even if you don't succumb to toxic masculinity.
so true, yeah, yeah. And I agree, Joe. There isn't a line. So, like, if more
Mm-hmm.
of us live longer than that, then like, yeah, that can definitely change. Um, I don't think they avoided certain changes, which was clearly done to make California more survival world based. Is they
Mm-hmm.
said that place like that is with no prior war. I wonder if like some critics are bashing it off the games or the Death Star. The latter makes sense because the Imperial scums are more likely to hate Andor. Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly see.
I think that it was just something new that they hadn't seen before. Star Wars has always been, I mean, except when you were on Endor or Tatooine or
Hmm.
any other place outside of Coruscant
Hmm.
or Naboo. It's always been very high tech, very
Yeah,
Z
exactly.
Rust in the case of the Death
Hmm.
Star.
Yeah.
Um, I think that a lot of them are just unpleasable, and they're just determined to hate Star Wars until it goes back to telling the same story over and over again.
Yeah.
But I
Because
mean, the point of Star Wars is that, or at least one of the themes of Star Wars, is that there have always been the haves and the have-nots.
yeah.
I mean, it's like they're upset about bricks, but Luke lived in an adobe hut,
Yeah.
or at least it had stucco on the outside.
Yeah. Again, it's like the Mos Eisley was mostly built of mud. Exactly. Uh,
They're just, yeah. I think they're just unpleasable, and
yeah.
they just want their childhood to be what it. They just want everything to be like when they were children.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why with any kind of like advance and complaint, this is not Star Wars, this is not Star Trek, this is not whatever, something like that. They want whatever is their thing to like be 100% adhere to how they remembered it and not like
Mm,
deviate from that as well too. There's been some Star Wars fans that never liked the expanded series or expanded universe as well too.
mm,
And so, like, if any video game is based off the expanded universe and not on the original trilogy in any sort of way, they're never going to be like enjoyed as well too. And not saying that I don't think there was like many. Well, there's some fantastic games that are outside of the original trilogy, honestly.
mm.
But like
Yeah.
anything,
I would call the Galactic Republic, the places that were clean, those were the Imperial core, in
yeah,
communist terms. Um,
yes,
and you're absolutely right that that's why uh, some Star Wars fans hated Empire. I think a lot were very anxious because that was a very dark ending.
yeah,
But they were able to do that very dark ending because they knew they'd have a third movie.
yeah.
But
Mm.
yeah, I think you're right that they are opposed to Andor because it has a more leftist message, opposing Empire, opposing fascism, and and drawing out the comparisons that George Lucas was drawing out in '77,
Mhm.
that the American Empire is evil, and so on. Um,
Which is why I laugh at every time that like people said that like modern day like Star Wars is bad because there's too much politics in them. It's just like there was always politics in Star Wars. Hate to break it to you.
mhm.
But yeah. Uh, so with like so Andor is definitely like one that worth watching. I still need to finish watching the Clone Wars honestly because that series is really good. Jordan Roberts says recommended I should still watch Rebels, which is kind of like the next CGI series after like Clone Wars. Um, is The Mandalorian worth watching? Controversial opinions, but I don't think they needed to have a sequel series in Star Wars, at least in terms of
Mhm.
like Return of the Jedi.
No, I kind of agree. I think it would have been better to have a clean break
Yeah, I
with
agree.
the original trilogy and just have a new story, new characters.
Hmm.
Um, I think that they were trying to, well, again, Abrams set it up as just the same trilogy but bigger.
Yeah.
And he wanted to have lots of homages to the original, and that's why he
Hmm.
set up the theme of having one of the original trilogy characters die in each of the sequel trilogy. Um,
Hmm.
as a way to signal the passing of the torch from the old to the new.
Hmm.
Um, there could have been a way to have a sequel trilogy set with those characters still appearing that wouldn't have been so fan servicey. And I
Hmm.
think that that's one of the flaws with the Fallout series. I mean, that's what happens when you have hardcore fans get in charge of a project in the franchise, is that
Hmm.
they want to service their particular favorite bits and pieces, which is why it
Yeah.
goes back to California, it goes back to Fallout 2 in New Vegas so hard.
Hmm.
And you're right, they probably could have told a good story, maybe a better story, if they had set it in New York. But they could have had, fan service elements without getting so tangled in established lore.
Hmm. Oh, and Andor was not a super fan making it. That's the word too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
It's like what's his name? I can't. The director of Superman Returns. He also directed the first two X-Men movies
oh,
with
Brian
Hugh
Singer.
Jackman. Yeah, he was not a huge fan of the X-Men, so he was aware of the stories, the elements, the lore, and he made two very good movies. But he was
Hmm.
a huge fan of Superman,
Hmm.
and so Superman Returns is a good movie, but it wasn't great.
Hmm.
I think that's a pretty big issue.
Hmm. I think the CHI says like definitely said like super fans should not be creating like content in the like things that they're super fans of because
Mm.
like they will be
It's hard
it's
for them
so
to disentangle their emotions and so on.
yeah. Hmm.
I
and
mean,
do
I
so.
really want to tell a story in Star Wars, but I probably shouldn't.
Yeah,
hmm Yeah, screw Raylo. That relationship was toxic AF.
yeah.
I support the thruple: Finn,
Mhm.
Ray, and Poe.
Yes, absolutely. Um. So yeah. What was the other thing that I wanted to look at and mention as well too? Uh. Well, I don't know. Anything else happened this week?
Not that I'm aware of. But
Oh,
I'm going
great.
ahead, put the GIF back up. I support the thruple. You can
Uh,
see it on screen now.
oh yeah, yeah. That was that was the GIF I was thinking of as well too. I hate this. Like, another friend that just like posted that they're going to be raising money. Well, it's going to be for the whole month. So it's like they'll need the money by like the 23rd, but they also want to like try to raise like money in this Saturday. So and it's like uh will I ever
um,
live in a world where like my friends are not like asking for money online?
no. Maybe eventually we'll have a Star Trek future, but I don't think in our lifetimes we'll be able to deconstruct capitalism and replace it with what's a thing, communism. There's
Yeah.
just so much work to do, so much inertia to overcome, and so much power to fight against. Um,
Yeah.
well, there's always going to be good versus evil in the Star Wars universe. That's just the kind of stories you get there, Willith.
True.
And if they had said it further in the future, then those happy endings could have continued for a while, and the change could have been something different, a different way that you get much more things. 5 of 6 demands might be met for U of M pro-Palestinian protesters. Ooh.
No, that's good. Because yeah, those like campus protests are still going strong. But yeah, I just like there's fun. I'm trying to like think of what to do to like reduce my credit card debt now. I was just like prepared to like always have that $24,000 worth of credit card debt. That I just like will my friends never have to stop begging online in order to live. I don't know when I can be able to get rid of my credit card debt. I so it's like yeah, it seems insurmountable where it's just like either I have to like spend less or more or give less money to my friends or do any combination of those three or all three. And I kind of like dread like doing all three or dread dread any aspect of that as well too. Yeah, I'll agree I have the like reckless spending habit as well too. Then I spend over $6,000 on like Fortnite for skins as well too. But like I just don't know. It's especially when and I still see my friends either publicly or even privately they'll DM me. But apparently, like not all of my friends like knew. There was like a friend who I was they'll keep a secret of who it is. That's been like asking for money, but I guess he did not know that I was in credit card debt. Because once I mentioned it's like I have 24,000 in credit card, it's like, whoa, I seriously did not know. When I was asking money, it's like it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Hey, but I'm sure he feels guilty for like asking money in previously, knowing what he knows now, which is like it is what it is. Um, I like the book that explains the rise of the First Order, writing the new, withering the New Republic
Within the New
Senate. It's like,
Republic Senate. Yeah. I haven't read it, so I can't really comment.
yeah,
Um, but so long as you have a capitalist state, you're always going to get fascist movements.
because like capitalism decay is fascism.
hmm
And whenever I say that, liberals are pissed off about that, at least. So at least it eventually led one liberal to just like block me and ban me, or like just block me on social media, or the only social media I know of. They're like Facebook, and yeah, that's governance as well too. He's a small business owner that wants to turn a small business into like enterprise. I was about to say empire. No, that's not the word he used. Enterprise. But it's just like, so you want to create their small business into a big business and then like take the surplus labor of thousands and thousands of workers, which is why I'm sorry, Kirok, but it's not Kirok who blocked me. But that's why I'm not in favor of small businesses as well too. It's just like the
The
capitalism on a
petite
small scale.
bourgeoisie.
Yeah. Star Wars Bloodlines.
Well, that's the name of the book.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That's why I'm not in favor
The
of
only
like
Star Wars
also.
books the only Star Wars books I own are the Dark Force trilogy by Timothy
Mm,
Zahn, which gave
yeah.
us Thrawn,
Mm,
one of the most popular characters in Star Wars.
yeah.
Um, I also read a couple of other books. The one with the lizard that emitted pheromones.
Hmm.
The lizard man who emitted pheromones.
Mm, yeah.
That was not a very good book.
Yeah. So yeah, we got like 7 minutes left of the show. The Shadows of the Empire. I've played the game Shadows of the Empire. I did enjoy that N64 game for the most part. I never like beat it on the hardest difficulty, so I never got the true ending as well
Yep,
too.
that's the one. Zaro Den or something.
Yes, yeah, exactly. But trying to like beat that game at the hardest
Prince
difficulty would be
Caesar,
really,
that's the name.
yeah. But no, I enjoy the Shadows of the Empire like a video game in the N64. Quite interesting as well too. And of course, like the N64, the classic console, because people were growing up on the N64 and I remember the Atari 2600. So it's just like, but now people are growing up on the classic console, the GameCube as well too, and be nostalgic for like Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, which is a great game. I just never beat it. That's actually what was the last game I did beat of the Legend of Zelda franchise. I think it's Ocarina of Time. No, the Phantom Hourglass. I have not beaten Majora's Mask. I have not beaten, which I'm sure is a great game. I have not beaten Wind Waker, which is I'm sure is a great game. No, I know it's a great game. Hey, there's some haters of Wind Waker because the cartoony like style, and have not beaten Twilight Princess, and not played Skyward Sword at all, and have not played Breath of the Wilds or Tears of the Kingdom at all. I'm sure Breath of the Wild is a great game, but I haven't played it.
Don't forget the
Best
Dark
is
Forces video game series.
they
Star Wars,
they're not.
Dark Forces. Star Wars, Jedi Knight, Dark Forces 2. Star Wars, Jedi Knight, Dark Forces 2, Mysteries of the Sith. Star Wars, Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast. Star Wars, Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy. A few have joked that its full title would be Star Wars, Dark Forces 4, Jedi Knight 3, Jedi Outcast 2, Jedi Academy.
I should play those games because I think I own all of them. Honestly, they're all on Steam, and I think the May 4th sale for like the games on Steam is still like available. But unfortunately, I have I can kind of look at my credit card statements as well too, and then like assuming the interest on the credit cards is going to like hit on like this Friday, the 10th as well too. I really have no money to like give whatsoever as well too, if I do believe that the interest will hit on the 10th. But I paid on the 10th too. So depending on if like I stay up until 2 a.m. on like Thursday, which I probably won't, then like yeah. I won't have money until the 10th, and some of the sales of those Steam games are just gonna go away on the 8th. Oh well. The Wii U sales in the future as well too. But now it's just like I have no money to like give to like my friends who like just recently publicly posted that they were going to try to raise money for the whole month to for food. The Jedi Knight Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor are not part of the Dark Forces Jedi Knight series.
No, no, they're not. Um, but I was just talking about the Dark Forces series. It's just that Jedi Academy is part of the Dark Forces series, and I think it's the proposed name for an upcoming Jedi Survivor. Nope, Jedi Knight Jedi Academy is a different game. Yeah, that's just from Dark Forces.
There's a lot of classic like Star Wars games that still I'm playing. I still have not played
But they
Knights of
all
the
start
Old
with Star
Republic.
Wars colon something. So the new
Yeah,
one is
Star Wars.
Star Wars Jedi Knight, or Star Wars Fallen Order Jedi Knight.
Yeah. uh so yeah. Charity links that page. Remember, just like if you have extra money, are willing to like charge your credit cards, like me. If you have extra money, charity links that page. There's many people that will need help in this war too. Phoenix is just like posting a lot
Yep.
that okay, no, we're
Bye,
about
what
to end
if?
show anyway. But well, we're about to end show anyway, so like it's a good time that you head out now. There you won't miss much. Phoenix just needs to like raise money for like everything. It seems like bills, rents, food, supplies, and like because I don't know if they're soon to have their internet cut off as well too. So it's just like hopefully that doesn't happen as well. But like and I have no money to give at all until the 10th. So yeah, charity links that page. I'm Summer Geek. Summer Geek on. I'm now on Threads. So if you're on Threads, you can follow me on Threads. But also Summer Geek. I am on Instagram, but it's just like I hate how like you have to post pictures, and it's like I now you can now post pictures from your computer or something like that. But it's been wonky for me to do in that. So I'll just probably like post more on like Instagram with memes or anything like that as well to pictures as well too, because I want to just do the text posts and that sort of thing too. But it's like that's not a picture or anything like that. But I am on Instagram. You can follow me there as well too. But I'm also Summer Geek on Blue Sky, Tumblr, co-host. Yes, I'm still on Twitter. I'm on Facebook on Jonathan Scott. Haven't created like a Summer Geek page on like a Facebook yet. If I do want to or not as well too. But Summer Geek on like YouTube and Twitch, and I will be streaming on YouTube and Twitch once I get off this call. Maybe eat something, and I'm gonna be playing some like Fortnite since like something Star Wars related is like. But Chewbacca is now in Fortnite, and it's Los Rando Calrissian as in Fortnite. So it's like, even though it's like they're kind of running out of characters to put in the Fortnite, but that they add Chewie and add Lando as well too. I think what they would add Wedge Antilles or like C3PO, I think they are running out of characters, even though many
Antilles.
have said Wedge Antilles. Yes. No, Wedge Antilles would be like, who the hell is Wedge? And only the Star Wars fans who know who Wedge is, but like
Mm.
the public, well, it's like C3PO, people see C3PO, they would know C3PO. That'd be an odd choice to put C3PO in like a Fortnite, but I don't want to put past Fortnite for doing that. As they'll have to have like put in a new character, but now it's like Chewbacca, and even though Chewbacca's in the Lego Pass, and some people are upset about that, no, you don't have to play Lego Fortnite to get Chewbacca. You just have to buy the Lego Pass. And if you don't want to you don't want to play any time in like Lego Fortnite, that's fine. That's up to you as well too. But yeah, the Lego Pass is now in Fortnite as now
Lego
each
Pass. That's a character from Lord of the Rings, right?
that's Legolas. But yeah, so later on, so after I get off this call, I'm gonna be like streaming on Twitch and YouTube playing Fortnite, and hopefully I'm not like slapping the sides of my head really hard and frustration for getting second in like a battle royale match or something like that. Hopefully not that, but no guarantees. So yeah, they will be screaming on my Twitch channel, so it's in my YouTube streams as well too. But like John Brockman, you're part of another podcast, aren't you?
Indeed, I am. Dungeons and Debacles. We play D&D. It's a lot of fun. Quite different from
Mhm.
this. And if you look at the screen now, you'll see a bit of wordplay. You can't see the whole thing. Legless, Lego, Legoless.
Yes, yes, I do see that, and okay, and like a production note as well too, or like a show notes is like next week will be the second Sunday of the month, so it'll be the 12th. It'll be Patreon. It'll be the Patreon show on next Sunday, which also is Mother's Day too. So yes, I will call my mom, talk to her, and like I should also just email my family is that you're not getting any gifts from me whatsoever, because of my $24,000 of credit card debt. So far, only people who've seen the movies and TV shows know that I stand.
Yeah, Wedge was
Yeah,
the most featured character in the extended universe because he was part of a deleted scene in A New Hope,
mhm.
and that's about it.
Yeah, yeah,
So
exactly.
he just became, a popular sort of little bit of lore that everybody knew about. He was a huge fan of the show
Mhm.
or the movies. And so once they started writing novels and comic books, suddenly Wedge was everywhere. Hell, he even made it into Final Fantasy as
Mhm.
a repeated joke of having Biggs and Wedge, or Vix and Wedge.
Yeah, Biggs and Wedge, Fix and Wedge. Yeah, exactly.
Well done, Joe. All right. And with that, we are out of time. And we will say adieu.
Take care of yourselves, everyone.
Self care is important. And